Hello.
Before 20.
Did you take a rip?
Yeah, when we get sophisticated, we'll play a clip or something. Maybe like at the half baked scene where they're all walking into the grocery store as kids. Abba Zabba, the first time we got high. But yeah, since we're low effort currently, we don't have that clip ready to go.
We'll be fine.
We're working in an intellectual space here, people. Anyway, hello everybody. I hope you're having had a great weekend, and I hope you had a great 420. If that's a high holiday, high holiday. Sorry, I
serves it.
Yeah, today was a weird day for me. I had the day off, so I watched for the first part of the day. I thought I'd come into the stream speaking British because I spent like 6 hours watching Starmer get grilled by his parliament, and then all the takes from all over England because he's under a lot of he's getting crushed by the Epstein. Everyone's like the Epstein files. There's no accountability. Meanwhile, the English government, the Labour government, is imploding because of Mandelson, one of Jeffrey Epstein's main connections. So it's kind of funny. In fact, if anything, if we have dead time at the end, I'll pull some clips up where they make references. But yeah, Epstein
help me understand on that bit. Is most of the fallout because of like selling state secret stuff instead of the fucking kids stuff?
That's correct. It is because he was given Epstein, and that's primarily the evil of Epstein. Ben's got in big trouble on Joe Rogan. Mike Ben's got in big trouble on Joe Rogan because he said, y'all are looking at this pedophile stuff, but the real story with Epstein is his connections to all the different governments and how he was moving information around, weapons around, that kind of and that nefarious middleman that the expendable they could get rid of. They use him for a mission and then they get rid of him. I can't go as deep as he does because he's got receipts for everything. Mike Benz is exhausting if you watch his content because he's like pulling up files and news clippings, and it's Charlie's board, but they're not. I mean, there is stuff there, but it's like overwhelming.
And that was a Rogan appearance. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, his first two went brilliantly. People loved the shit out of him. The last one, he got a lot of backlash because he was on the. I mean, he isn't discounting the whole pedophile, all that pedophile, all that stuff going on. He's not like shitting on it or anything. He's just, from his perspective, it was all about the NGO work, the government monies, and all the he's tied to Turkey, tied to Israel, moving this, moving that. And Mandelson was part of that network. And all the fight, everything's just coming. He was literally he'd get reports from the bank and he would literally just send them over to Epstein.
Jesus Christ.
So, I mean, it's heavy, but there's no coverage over here.
The implications of that kind of shit, it's a lot to handle for real.
And we had two CEOs just weirdly go, okay, well, we're leaving now. The head of Netflix decided to step down, and the head of Apple today decided to step down.
Interesting.
Just saying. Yeah, just
like what CEOs or what do you remember?
Yeah, the CEOs and founders. CEOs. Well, Tim Cook isn't a founder, but he was the guy.
Mm-hmm.
We have a turnover at the
Tim
top.
Apple, I believe, is
yes, correct. Yeah. What'd I call him? Tim Cook? Whatever.
No, I called him Tim Apple because I think Trump has called him Tim Apple before because he's just the Apple guy.
Yeah, he's the Apple guy. Well, he's gone. Mm-hmm. Well, he's staying with the company at some get a paycheck position, but he's no longer the head bitch in charge.
Right. Interesting.
So and I'm not saying it's tied to Epstein, but if Trump did keep something hidden, I have a feeling it's being used.
Yeah. That's gross to think about.
That's gross to think about. Mm-hmm. But this is the way Machiavellian politics works. I don't know if it's true or not. It's pure speculation. I can't prove it.
Right. Throw all the allegedlys in there and everything.
I'm just asking questions. So anyway, yeah. And then so anyway, I went from there, and after I got bored of that, because after a while all the takes kind of went dry, and then I flipped over and I watched this guy do Peter Thiel, the Antichrist, and then
Okay.
yeah, it's a good video. I'm gonna send it over to you. It's probably nothing we can cover, but he's a very progressive guy actually. He hates Trump, blah blah blah, but I just like his content. So again, I have no problem watching people who are I feel ideologically different than myself, but
It's
his content,
over for sure.
yeah. So I'll send that over because that might be an interesting listen when you ain't got nothing to listen to and you're doing what you're doing.
Right. I was gonna
And
say I
that's
got a lot of time to fill at work, man. So yeah, send it for sure.
I'll definitely send that one, and he's got interesting content. But anyway, I spent time, and then that of course led to me looking into Antichrist shit and that kind of stuff, just because I always find that appealing, just
Mhm.
fun, and there was nothing else going on. All right,
Yeah, it
so
wasn't a very busy. Here was one big thing from over this weekend. So you, Larry, you were telling me you didn't really, let me get the better layout here. You
no,
weren't really following this, were you?
no, I don't follow Laura Loomer, and you mentioned before we started that she's tangling with Candace.
With Candace. And
All right.
here's her pinned tweet from 2 days ago. And I'll expand this here. Candace Owens has hired nearly all Zionist Jewish legal team and law firm that once employed the former ambassador to Israel to represent her in the defamation suit. So between publicly hating Zionists but hiring them for her legal representation, there was also, I don't know if it's in this tweet or not, but the revelation that there's a trust that Candace has set up in either her or her husband's name where she might potentially be hiding assets, which, when you're being sued for defamation, might be kind of a no-no. So that was the crux of it really was um, she doesn't actually hate Zionists because they'll get her out of a jam when she's in legal trouble. And she's probably hiding assets,
She was
allegedly.
pro Zionist for a portion of her career because I remember she was with the Daily Wire crew for a bit.
Mhm.
I don't know how much that is motivated by. I don't know. I can't speculate whether they're getting paid, whether they
Um,
just took. Yeah,
Regardless of motivation, the public perception has been that Laura definitely got the best of Candace in this exchange because
yeah,
she came with receipts of a clear hypocritical behavior from what you say publicly on your show to how you
yeah.
actually act, and the potential like the legal implications of hiding
Yeah,
assets. It was a
it
fun exchange for sure.
yeah, it's still two retards fighting for me.
And that's not entertaining. That's not
Yeah. Oh
enough
no,
for you.
I'm too busy watching Starmer get his ass kicked by everybody, including his own party.
That's fun. So we didn't have a whole lot of clips to go over today, which is kind of good. We might need it to be kind of a shorter episode. We're gonna start getting started at 8:30, a little bit earlier, 8:30
Yep.
Central, going forward.
Yeah, we
So
run till tens. We got a good 45 minutes. So let's run.
cool. Let's go then. I did want to start with this is kind of a shorter clip, I want to say. Yeah, 12 minutes, so we can probably get a good majority of it in here. This you sent over to me, Larry. Again, it keeps going to the wrong layout. I want our bubbles to be bigger, damn it. So this is kind of the MAHA wing of the right. Is that correct? Who
Yeah.
who is it that we're about to hear from?
Well, Dave Rubin's not really Maha. He's just DeSantis wing. I don't know. I'll call him establishment. He's actually a liberal Democrat. But the others, I'm not sure who the
Dr. Drew.
Dr. Drew is Maha. Julian Michaels is Maha. Now they're liberals. And now what I was telling you before the stream is Maha is a very no one talks about him. I mean, as far as I think Democrats are concerned, they're just kind of the RFK anti-vax crazy people.
Mm.
I don't think you guys even think about them much, other than they're apostates because they turn their back on Democrats. But I don't think they really nobody on your side thinks about them at all.
Yeah, that's I would definitely say that the focus on the left right now is on far left and far right voices, and I don't hear a whole lot about this kind of attempt to get this health conscious part of what was the left wing back over.
Yeah. Now, why MAHA is important, and I may even contend they're more important than the American Firsters, is because they do bring constituents. Their audiences are the moms, the regular suburban, the people who got jobs. A lot of the America Firsters are the hardcore neckbeard. I mean, just what I'm visualizing. In other words, I don't think a mom of 3 is watching Tucker. I think the 17-year-old who's pissed at the entire world is watching Tucker or Nick. And also, they can still walk in Democratic circles because they all have celebrity friends. They're all still plugged into that celebrity world. And so they can still walk among you. They're the only part of our coalition in MAGA that can still walk amongst the good people.
Good people. That's funny. But they're kind of discussing how it is that the left is hoarding Hasan, if one would like to put it that way. And I think it was just a good example of trying to understand, if you are part of the Democratic Party or whatever, how hoarding or campaigning with Hasan will be perceived from certain less politically active parts of still the electorate. People who are still very much active come election time, but they don't live in it in the day-to-day.
That's who these people talk to. They're like Oprah politics.
Yes, right. And I think it's just interesting to be able to view how it is they're internalizing all this too.
You're showing Nux later, huh?
Yes, I'm showing Nux after this.
So you're definitely seeing how the right, the diversity in the right is diversity of thought. Because how these two are under the same tent would boggle your mind. Jillian just recently had on.
It really wouldn't, though, because not long ago they were both in my tent. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I understand where you're coming from in like this wrangling cats thing, because that's where liberals used to be, which is interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I promise you, I'm avoiding doing that. If the Democrats ever drop a lot of the woke agenda, I hate using the word woke, but you know what I mean, as a general descriptor. If a lot of that kind of, or at least gets buried, you'll probably see a lot of them come back. That's just my opinion.
Well, let's see if the inclusion of Hasan is going to help or hinder that.
I used to work with him.
I've never even heard of this.
Jillian, connect this to this.
Yeah, hold on. Pause.
Okay.
Pause.
So,
pause for a moment. The name of the show is Actual Friends. How gay is that? I mean, I'm just saying, how middle boomerish is that? Or, nice Gen X as opposed to grumpy Gen X is that name. All right.
Speaking of crazy on the left, I actually want to put this question out to you guys first. Hannity asked me this. Now I want to ask you, on the left, is there anybody that you would vote for? Seriously, let's start with you, Dave. Anybody that you're like, yeah, I kind of like them, like they're reasonable. I wouldn't be concerned if they became president. Who do you got?
Well,
Anybody?
Those are two different questions. I could see myself in some situation voting for John Fetterman to be senator if I lived in Pennsylvania, but I would have all sorts of concerns about it and his health and mental. There's still some stuff there and all that kind of thing.
That's the only one you've got is Fetterman. He was my only one.
Yeah. In terms of someone that's in politics right now, that is actually a political leader that has a D next to their name, I think Fetterman's the only one.
I challenged myself here.
I wanted to pause it there because I do think it's interesting. I'm someone who's trying to pitch to people on the left that while it isn't where I want us to be, we are still in a moment of time where there's too much stink on the Democratic Party, and we might need an outsider to run to better represent the people's frustration with the ineffectiveness of our system. Run in 2028, Jon Stewart. But I'm sorry, did you have anything on this opening clip?
Yeah, but is he an outsider? I mean, he's been a mouthpiece for the Democrats for a long time.
He would be perceived enough by enough of the independents I believe that, yes, he would win a lot of that independent vote that's looking for someone who isn't entrenched in the Washington, D.C. itself.
Yeah,
but
I'm putting my bets down. If I had $100,000, I'd drop it on Kamala in a minute. I don't see any way how you get out of Kamala. I think Kamala is the Democratic nominee. I think she's more sure thing than Vance is at this point.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm so far away from saying anyone's a sure thing. I'm just so there's so much shit left to happen. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh yeah. It's still long out. Yes, I agree there.
All right. Back to this.
You're okay. Dig deeper than Fetterman.
Yeah.
Who?
Like,
I got nothing.
So what do you think of Ro Khanna? Did you think he was banana? Oh, you hate him. Okay, that's fair. All right, so Dr. Drew, Dave?
So I've interviewed him several times in person. We've met, we've spent a little time chatting off camera. We've had disagreements on air about affirmative action and all sorts of things that we have policy disagreements on that I don't think he has great arguments about. And you can watch the videos where we got into all of those things. I think he's taken a turn for the much worse over the last 3 months. He's decided to go all in with the crazy anti-Israel stuff. He's bringing back, all of his, I mean, he was one of the people. He's screaming about Epstein, and then he was one of the 356 that voted not to release the names of the slush fund people. He's going all in on Medicare for all and all of the big government programs. He's the representative from Silicon Valley, and now he's got all, the All In podcast guys and everyone turning on him. So I think he's
become one of the what Scott Adams used to call the designated liars, which was Swalwell and others. He started to defend the border policy of the Biden administration. I saw him lately doing that. I mean, these are just either. I hope he's telling distorted truth, because if he's not, he has a 2-cent head.
The only thing I knew about him, what really was, I mean, it's more recent, but I saw him on a couple of shows doing just that, Drew, is defending the border policy. And, he's smooth, relatively speaking. And I'm like, no, just because you're throwing all these, big words in and you can handle the back and forth because so many Democrats won't go talk to the other side. No, if you dig deep and listen to what he's saying, absolutely not. No, but he's smart. He's smart for doing that and having those conversations. But to me, that when I heard that, no matter the other topics, if I lose all respect for you, if that is what your stance is on the border right there, because that speaks to so much more than just that one issue.
Here's where I was trying to go with this, is that previously I had thought, okay, he's independently wealthy, so it'll be harder to buy him off. He's talking to the other side. He seems to find common ground. He's willing to work across the aisle. And now one of his favorite people is Hasan Piker. So I don't know if you guys, we have a clip of this, which first I want to lay out.
So first, again, I think this is really interesting context. It starts with discussing Ro Khanna, an actual elected official, and how their opinions of someone who is close to power is swayed by just associating with Hasan. Before they get into the Hasan bits. Any thoughts on their Ro Khanna discussion?
Again, Hasan Piker for MAGA, and even the American Firsters, how they may like him, they're so far left now. But anyway, they went so far right that they went left. They've gone to plaid. But anyway, the MAGA, I mean, Hasan Piker just doesn't pop up on the radar at all. I never see clips from Johnny MAGA or any of those type of accounts. You just don't see them. The only two factions that are hell bent on what's going on with Hasan Piker are MAHA and the Never Trumpers, or anti-Trumpers, the Never Trumpers that didn't leave. They hate Trump, but they didn't. It's weird, but anyway,
right, they both seem like center right rather than.
There you go, center right, and I call these guys center left. I'm telling you.
Yeah, no, I totally understand where you're right. I understand where you're coming from, even if I can instantly think of certain issues that I think of as more right wing that they might agree with. This is the average voter. The average voter has things that they're more left leaning or more right leaning on.
Yeah, just depending on what is the issue of importance.
Right. Yeah, exactly. What feels the most pressing. All right, so let's get into their Hasan thoughts now.
who this guy is. And I didn't really appreciate how evil and how dark and how sick.
I used to work with him.
Dave, he's...
I should ask, do you know where they used to work?
Young Turks.
Oh, Dave Rubin was at Young Turks. I didn't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was a lefty. A lot of the IDW guys were lefties. They just were attacked by the wokes because they're the old-fashioned liberal. The free speech, you're allowed. They would put up with the Marxists, but they wanted their space inside the Democratic Party too. And when the progressives took over, they got pushed out.
They got pushed. Fascinating.
Mentally ill. He calls for the assassination of politicians on the right. I don't even know if I can say the things that this guy has said.
America deserved 9/11.
He justifies the of Jews. He says that he would vote for Hamas any day over Israel. He just went after this Vietnamese refugee who escaped a communist regime, and you're gonna have to bleep me. Bleep. He's like, you suck, you dumb. He is so foul and so filthy and so awful. Now hold on, hear me out, okay? I thought that Nick Fuentes.
A MAGA broadcast wouldn't bleep. that's like a good indication if you're watching MAHA versus MAGA. A MAGA would have just fired off like a Trump,
All right, here come the expletives.
Fuentes was alarming. Nick Fuentes is an
That's what I
ultra
was gonna
boy
say.
compared to Hasan Piker. Okay, an ultra boy. What did they do to Nick Fuentes? They debanked him. They deplatformed him. They put him on a no-fly list. Now, I'm not saying that should happen. I just think, a decent person says Nick Fuentes needs help. He does not stand for what I stand for. That's all I would hope for on the right. The left went bananas. Look at this. Trump's at dinner with Nick Fuentes. Look at they embrace him and embrace it. Okay, Hasan Piker, they're campaigning alongside of him. He's speaking at Yale. He is their golden boy because he has a connection to the youth.
Here's what I think is really interesting. So, in one breath, talking about how the left assailed the entire right because of Nick Fuentes, and now pivots to they're campaigning with him when it's one Senate candidate who's campaigned with him. I don't think she's wrong, even because it's clearly the Democratic Party has been much more accepting of Hasan than the Republican Party itself was accepting of Nick. So I don't think she's wrong. I just think it's emblematic of that kind of broad brush.
Yeah, she's speaking in broad brushes, and I've come to a place. We're gonna watch Nux later, and Nux, remember the Hexus thing? We kind of got into it. He just accepted the narrative. He didn't even look into, from his perspective. He was like, oh yeah, it was cringe, but he was also like, well, it's whatever. But he just accepted the narrative. He just accepted the narrative, though, and he's right winger. So it's just there's some hills. Sometimes people talk in generalities, and it tells you a lot about their worldview. They see all of them like that.
Right. Yeah, and I think also like the Nux thing, it speaks to just how many fucking things you have to follow in order to be fully informed in this fucking world. Because we throw a billion things at you a day or whatever.
Correct.
It's like, can you blame him for not putting the time in to be like, let me fact check this fucking claim or whatever.
Yeah.
And Ro Khanna, who I thought was at least somewhat reasonable, is now like just professing how much he wants to work with Hasan Piker. Can we? No, I just set the whole thing up. But can we see that clip?
Here are two members of a left-leaning think tank. This is how they put it. They wrote, quote, no left-wing agitator is more influential and extreme than Twitch streamer Hasan.
I also, liberals need to get on this too. He's just a commie agitator. He's a communist agitator. It's not like a question. He doesn't hide it. I don't know.
Yeah, as someone who wants the Republicans to win the midterms, I hope they embrace them totally. Y'all should put him on the flag. He'll play well inside of California and New York, but I'm telling you, he's not going to play well in Pennsylvania or anywhere else.
I think we need to get Hasan out there in the Midwest states or whatever.
Yeah.
No, of course not. If you're not running him with anyone who isn't a Democratic socialist already and running in an incredibly blue part of whatever state, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, Ro Khanna's in California. That's on lock. California could run. Yeah, California could run a toaster for governor as a Democrat, and the toaster would win. So, Ro Khanna is safe.
He's referred to ultra-Orthodox Jews as inbred, employed anti-Semitic dog whistles, bloodthirsty, violent pig dog against an anti-Hamas viewer of his stream, compared liberal Zionists to liberal Nazis, and said Hamas is 1,000 times better than the Israeli state. Now, Hasan Piker says some of his comments have been taken out of context, but he largely stands by them. Do you have any regrets about appearing on his show?
None, and I would go again. But I, of course, condemn those comments. I mean, I've described Hamas as a terrorist state, and we need to unequivocally condemn anti-Semitism. But Hasan Piker was at the DNC in 2024 covering Vice President Harris. What should the standard of the Democrats be? Should we not go?
Wait, does my memory not serve correctly? Wasn't Hasan there with part of like the pro-Palestinian group that was like protesting that they weren't getting stage time at the DNC?
I can't even answer that. I don't remember him there. I remember Leon Panetta. I mean, I don't remember him there. I remember how, especially that last night. Well, it was just, it was the Save Democracy messaging. So I don't remember. He might have been. I don't remember.
I am going to look into that more. I'm not going to I'm throwing a challenge flag, but I might lose this one.
You could be vibing it. You could be vibing it, and that's fair.
That one.
Yeah, just call it out. Just say I'm vibing it right now. That's what I think.
I'm going to look into it. We'll get more info on that tomorrow.
Go on Theo Vaughn? Should we not go on Sean Ryan? Should we not go on Joe Rogan? Should we just have these purity tests of canceling folks?
You just likened Hasan Piker to Sean Ryan, Theo Vaughn, and Joe Rogan. What an asshole! All right, I'm passing. Who wants the ball?
All right.
Well,
Jump.
Okay.
I'm going
Go ahead,
to
Drew.
say something controversial because I'm going to take a contrary position.
Really?
My first reaction when the journalist read that comment, I thought, my God, we live in a great country. If he said that in Great Britain, he'd be in jail. People are allowed to
none of us are arguing that he can't say it.
Platform.
Well,
it's
no,
the
I'm
fact
just
that you
saying
embrace
that
him to
it's
promote
so
your career.
crazy, and now you can bleep me. So it's so over the top. Like, wow, we live in a great country. People even say stuff like that. And I agree with Ro Khanna. We don't deplatform people. And I personally, I'm not sure I'd go on that show, but I'd be interested in going, okay, what's going on here? And go do battle with these people. Let's bring them out into the sunlight.
He's not doing battle, though, Drew. They're campaigning alongside of him.
Pause.
They're using him as a
And that exactly there is why Drew is over currently in the Republican marching lines. Just that issue right there.
Right.
that's his foundational
knowledge,
thing.
bring it out into the. And I'm a firm believer in the sunlight is the best sanitizing agent kind of thing for terrible ideas. We just run into the problem when we're so fractured in a media landscape that there's no one source of light strong enough to that's the struggle we're in for. And there's no putting that genie back in the bottle. We just have to figure out how the fuck we do it from here. But
That's what I'm saying. Once that issue gets resolved over on blue team, then I think he'll put back on the blue shirt. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And that's absolutely like the Dems who are still focused on making the midterms about Trump are the ones that we need to overpower their voices over on our side on the left. Because that's not what's going to win these people back.
Megaphone. They admit to doing so. Mamdani has done it. Ilhan has done it. The senator from in Michigan who was afraid to make a comment about the death of the Ayatollah because he thought his constituents were upset about it. He's campaigning along Hasan Piker. So I thought, all right, it's the wackadoodle dandies. It's the squad. And then Ro Khanna is like, no, I would never, and I don't regret being on a show at all. And I mean, look, he's at the DNC, and I was like, oh my God, you just actually told me what an institution he is for you.
Yes.
And that's gross.
That's reveal. That's a reveal. Of course, I've been dealing with Medicare patients my entire career.
Pause. Yeah, or fast forward. Actual
Nobody wants to
friends.
deplatform.
What did you say?
Actual friends.
Actual friends.
It's so MAHA. That's all I can say.
Jordan. I don't know if there was the rest of this was about. Oh no, it was. Okay. Yeah. I do want the rest of this. I will pick up with Dave Rubin.
Deplatform, meaning he wants to say all these horribly noxious things, and some of them are quite awful and get as close to violating the First Amendment. He literally was on his Twitch stream telling people how to buy suicide drones. Don't blow up yourself. Do it with a suicide drone. The suicide bombers, that's old school. You don't have to do that anymore. And all the other noxious things. But nobody's for deplatforming him or debanking, none of us or for debanking him or whatever. I can't put words in any or out, but I think we agree on that. There's a couple of things here. First, every week I quote Jordan one way or another. Jordan for years was asking the left when the left went too far. He would literally go to DC and talk to Congress people and senators. Can any one of you tell me when the left goes too far? And he never could get anyone to say there was any position that was too far, because they're afraid of each other, because they know if you step out of bounds, now they'll come after you. So it ends up being this crazy game of Russian roulette. It's like an extortion racket in a weird way. That's one thing. Second thing is that, if you don't have any gatekeeping as a political party or a movement or an ideological anything, then you have nothing. Everything exists because there are certain things that are within the parameters of what we can work with. If the Democrats can't say, you know what, this guy who said America deserved 9/11, and he's on a Twitch stream, which is for 15-year-olds, telling them how to build suicide drones, and he's called for blood in the streets of his political opponents, and Jillian laid out
He's
6 other things.
He's mentally ill, Dave.
Well, no, I think listen, I worked with him. He is an evil rat. And I will tell you this, they can deny it all they want. But when I worked with him at the Young Turks, he was harassing every girl in the office, talking about his dick all day long. Ugh. Even Anna, she'll never admit it now. And all they did was ask him to work at home instead of punishing him in any way. His punishment was to work at home, which was before COVID. It was probably cool then. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's a horrible, there's video on his live stream where he's electrocuting his dog. You guys all saw that probably.
Kaya, please just go, just stop.
I didn't
he is
see
not
it,
a good human being.
Yeah.
But the point of all of this is what Jillian said, really, which is this isn't about debating these people or anything else. They are leveraging his ginned up massive audience so that they can continue the revolution, which is what they want. And that really is the problem. And and last thing, this is where the right deserves some credit. For all the fighting that's been happening on the right lately, a lot of people, and I think several of us, if not all of us are including this, have been saying, hey, there's some things that are a bit off limits, or some things that are just a bit too much. And if we don't stand for anything, we'll fall for anything. So I think that there is a huge problem on the left that has almost no solution at this point.
You have to please your own. This is where you have to tell people to fuck off. Going back a show or two ago.
Right. Yeah. Be careful who you let into your movement.
Yeah. Be careful who you let into your house. But yeah, the MAHA movement. And to be fair, they get wins too. The whole psychedelic mushroom thing, that's a MAHA. This last weekend, Joe got his psychedelic mushrooms to help people get off or get away from depression. Blah 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 blah.
PTSD. Yep, a whole bunch of medical ailments you could use psychedelics.
And RFK is doing a whole lot of food. He is taking the chemicals out and giving us the natural alternatives. It's going to cost companies more because they don't have all the preservatives and chemicals, so that the shit can sit on the shelves for 6 months. They're going to go bad like they do in Europe, but we're actually going to get real food as opposed to, dye red number 5 or whatever.
Right.
Okay. Although people who went on to Europe said our shit tastes better, so I did grab a couple extra boxes of cereal because I want the chemical cereal for a little bit longer.
There's something to that. They put the good shit in all those chemicals, man. So, then we have so this guy you just introduced me to today. The other voices I was at least familiar with. I hadn't seen that show. This guy is brand new to me. Let me pull him up.
Yeah, he hits a younger audience, that streamer audience. He's big over on Kick, and he comes in hard. He comes in real hard. He would be. Have you noticed? even our Crowders they're civil. You know what I mean? First of all, they're older, but they're also, this guy, he's very much like a lot of those left wing streamers and podcasters. You show me, every MAGA needs to get rounded up and sent to a camp. Well, he's like the right wing version of that. Every lefty needs to be rounded up and sent to a camp. Whatever. Not quite that edgy.
Yeah, right. I think this was really good, though. So another piece of news over this weekend was, I thought it was newsworthy. Patrick Bet-David kind of had an open challenge, so to speak, to Tucker to kind of submit to a financial audit to see if either one of them receives payments from, let's say, a foreign government. So this is kind of his take on their rivalry, take on take, which I think is a good place to start here.
To the two major theocracies.
There's a pretty big difference. One is out there massacring tens of thousands of people, and the other one is not. But yeah, I guess they're both theocracies.
So actually, the Vatican is very much like the Nazi Iranian government.
He became a leftist. He actually became a leftist. Look, man, by the fact that they said that they're both theocracies, it doesn't mean that they're both doing the exact same thing. But he actually became a leftist. He just doesn't engage with what words mean anymore. What happened to Tucker? Yeah, they are both theocracies. One is a theocracy that follows a demon, and the other one is not. A theocracy, the Vatican follows God, right? So what are we doing here?
Theocratic government, the mullahs, it's all basically the same. They've got the complicated dress.
He just said that they're both theocracies. He didn't say that. Oh my God, dude.
They hate the Jews, as Patrick Bet-David just said.
Didn't say all Catholics hate the Jews, whereas it literally states in the Quran that you have to massacre Jews and Christians wherever you find them. So yeah, the Iranian theocracy is a very dangerous one, obviously. Like, why are we making you believe this isn't true?
Catholics have a problem with the Jews. It's slander.
Yeah, you would know.
Pause.
It's
Spanish Inquisition. I mean, it is historically true. And especially the hard ones that there, again, you have crazy people in any kind of movement. So yes, there are sections of Catholics that hate Jews. There's sections of Protestants that hate Jews. There's sections of atheists that hate Jews. Obviously, they're marching on campus right now.
What's most striking to me about Tucker saying all this is I don't think he's unaware. Like, I don't think he's ignorant.
No, he's not this stupid. He's whatever.
It's not this stupid.
And to compare Iran, which is a state, the Vatican is technically a state. It is a country, but it has no army. It has it has a bank and foreign policy, blah, blah, blah. But it doesn't have any people. I think the only people that live in the Vatican are the priests. You know what I'm saying? It's not a
church.
It is a theocratic state. But if they wanted to be militaristic and march out, they got the Swiss soldiers,
the Swiss guards or whatever.
Yeah, the Swiss guards. I mean, this is not the same thing as what
they don't equate. Yeah, they don't quite equate.
I don't believe they're trying to build a nuclear weapon either. I don't know. Who knows what's going on in the Vatican?
No, and I would say, Larry, that the Vatican just wants to enrich to a certain point where they have a little bit of leverage.
For a peaceful program.
Yeah. You get it. Right, that's big.
He made an entire video saying that Israeli President Herzog is on Epstein's island raping kids, and had to apologize when he got sued.
On the world's largest and oldest Christian denomination, and is taking place openly.
Like, what are we even doing here? Like, are we being serious?
And it's all coming from the same source.
The Jews. Say it.
Which is Israel.
Such a coward. Just say the Jews. Just say the Jews. Don't be a pussy about it. It's the Jew. Patrick Bet-David's a Christian Iranian. Look, what are we even doing here? He's not Jewish. He's not Israeli. What are we even doing?
The issue is Israel. Anyone who supports the Netanyahu government, not Israel as a concept, not all Jews. No, the Netanyahu government. Anyone who ratifies every decision, no matter how violent or grotesque or genocidal of the Netanyahu government.
I don't know anyone that just immediately agrees with everything Netanyahu says. He lost elections in Israel before.
Yep, and it's such dishonest framing. Absolutely.
Yep.
For right.
People, and anyone who doesn't is a Nazi. And by the way, their religion itself is a Nazi religion. It's inherently.
He never said Catholicism's a Nazi religion. What are we even doing here?
Anti-Semitic religion.
So Tucker, it's interesting. I watched this video a few times, and respectfully, I want to respond to you because you're a formidable voice. Whether I agree with you or not, you're somebody that's very good at getting your message out there. And I think at this point, if there's anybody that believes in your ability, it's a guy like this who, after I sold my company, offered you $100 million contract. I even went on your friend Megyn Kelly's show when I announced it, and she was
another retard
asking specific questions. I said, "Yep, we went to your house, we made the offer, then we spent some time together. I came to Maine, and we did your show, and we've had a couple good conversations together. So I believe in you. I think you're funny, quirky, very good communication, and you have.
I think he's paid off. I think he's a foreign asset. I think he's a CIA operative. I think he's dangerous. I think he's trying to drive a wedge into our country. I think he's trying to destroy the Trump's government, for example, specifically. I think he's a tool for evil at this point, basically on all of his shows.
Your way of doing things. It's almost like you do twist words a lot, and I noticed you did that with me. He hates Catholics. He hates this. Catholics hate the Jews, and all this stuff that you did. It's a little bit of your shtick, which I get. But let me kind of get into a few things I want to address.
Wow, he's not even getting into the specifics at all. He is business. I respect that because that was insane.
Right, and this was legit my same take as I was watching the PBD clip. Were you following along with this over the weekend?
I just saw the initial clip, the initial offer, and just my only opinion is Tucker ain't going to do anything. PBD pulls some weight though. I mean, he's got good audience. What Trump should do, he should set up, that 4th of July UFC match. That's what he should do.
Make it Tucker versus PBD. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I want Tucker versus PBD match.
Oh my god! Your prelim fight could be Laura Loomer versus Candace Owens.
Oh my god! Yeah.
It's all coming together, bro. That could be the fight card right there. All right, let's. I really do like Patrick Bet-David lays this out really clear. Like you said, Tucker's of course not going to take this challenge at all.
No,
but I think he lays it out in a way where it's like, everyone watching. I think again, I'm biased, but a lot of people that I saw commenting on this were saying PBD definitely got the better of Tucker just by throwing the challenge out there.
Yes, he did.
This video, maybe you're not aware of it. A few things you need to know about me. My number one priority is to make sure America stays as the greatest country in the world. Period. Full stop. I'm America first. I'm a Christian, non-denominational Christian that you need to know about me. And by the way, I'm Armenian, which, by the way, the first nation that accepted Christianity as their religion was Armenians. And the only ones that debate Armenians on them being first is Assyrians, and my dad is Assyrian. Maybe that's the reason why my parents divorced each other twice, married each other, and divorced each other. So Armenian, Assyrian, Christian, America first. I want this thing to be the greatest country in the world.
You know who was in America first? Tucker Carlson, Mr. We need to submit to Russia and China and create a new world order. He literally said that on his show. Again, I think he's an operative. I think we're getting played. I think there's a huge psyop by a lot of these guys that recently backstabbed Trump all at the same time. And I think a lot of people are actually falling for it, which is why I'm really happy that Patrick Bet-David is actually taking the fight to him. Big voices didn't want to beef with this guy because, you'd end up getting called out, and there's a large fan base that are on his side. I never cared about any of that. I always said exactly what I felt, which is why I think people actually watch my videos. But dude, this guy's Patrick Bet-David is so based for this. Holy shit. No, it's so funny how this keeps happening. Like, you have a lot of people, and I disagree on both sides. You have a lot of people like Jews call out Catholics for being not America first because your allegiance is with the Pope. It's not with America. It's with the Vatican. If the Pope told you to vote Democrat, you would vote Democrat. You wouldn't vote for America. So you have dual loyalty. You don't really have loyalty to America. You have loyalty to the church. And you have a lot of people on the other side, on the more Catholic area, saying Jews have a dual loyalty. They have a dual loyalty to Israel. They'll vote for whatever gets Israel better. And, I do think that there are probably some Jews that have dual loyalty. I could think of some. There are probably some Catholics that have dual loyalty. Sure, whatever. But this broad strokes, like just, gigantic brush that people brush people as is insane. My stance is also I want America to be the number one superpower in the world. I think that America needs to do exactly what America does to make itself as superior as possible. And as many of these people cry and scream about humanitarian bullshit, no, we actually shouldn't kill terrorists. I think that's fucking retarded. We need to obliterate our enemies. So yeah, I actually share that stance.
So you're telling me this guy's a little bit balls to the wall, a little pedal to the metal here?
You millennials hate us extra MAGA. Wait till you see the next generation.
I don't hate anyone. I love all people.
No, I know not you. I keep using you. The Dems hate extra MAGA. But remember, we're slackers. We're gonna fade back into the woodwork here after we're done with Trump. They're the next generation. Oh yeah. I mean, we'll vote. Some of us will vote. A large percent of yeah, that's what we do. We're slackers. That's if you want to put a label on X, that's the number one label. We only got involved because, well, shit, they invented entertainment. If they would have left it, if I could have been playing my video games and watching regular Star Trek and not whatever is inhabiting Star Trek right now, I would not be politically inclined whatsoever. When they tried to seize the means of culture, that was when, well, okay, you should have just let us play video games. We would have stayed asleep. You should have taken everything else over first.
All right, let's get the rest of PBD's challenge in here.
I want this thing to be the greatest country in the world. I want capitalism to be common sense for everybody, to realize that if a new person wants to come up and have their dreams become a reality, I want that to be out there. But I wonder if that's where you are today.
He's not.
You were always there.
He talks about socialism now.
For many years, until what's happened with you the last couple of years. So let me kind of address a few things. So you said something a couple of weeks ago. You said Sharia law has made Islamic societies more advanced
That's a weird
than the
one.
West. Huh. It's interesting.
You know they have Christian slaves in these countries, right? Like in Qatar, which you just bought a house in. You do realize they have Christian slaves.
Sharia law has made Islamic...
You realize they marry children.
That's the right-wing version of calling what's happening in Israel a genocide. Technically, they do not have slaves. They have indentured servants. I mean, we're splitting hairs here. It's like they were doing on that clip we watched last week.
There is a reason why you label each step what it is. Yeah, no, I totally get you. But yeah,
again,
if you're like you've said, I think in text we've exchanged a little bit around. I think this next guy, if you've grown up in the environment where you never saw any of the system working towards what it said it was, whereas you and I, at least, were able to see parts of this working through our lives.
Yes.
That it would be hard not to want to put your foot down on pedal. I don't know. It's
black
hard.
and white. Everything is black and white. Everything is epic or trash. There is no mid. There is no nuance. There's no. Yeah, it's this.
Yeah, where we cook chat.
Society is more advanced than the West. It's a pretty bold statement. I mean, it's like you're selling Sharia law.
Also, you do realize that they only exist because of our benevolence, because we didn't destroy them. Right? We are the #1 global superpower, and any other culture and country that exists because of our benevolence, that we did not destroy them. I know that's dark, but it's true.
More than you're selling America.
Pause.
You had a guest on a couple of weeks ago.
Now that's the new strain that's popping up. And it's a true statement. In other words, there's another guy on the right who's preaching about it's not an Islamic takeover. Islam's not taking over. They're being invited in. And he has plenty of examples of how that's why that whole obliteration tweet, remember your whole civilization will be destroyed or whatever. The audience for that was the Iranians, because in the culture, they respect strength. That is what they do. Because they'll take advantage of you, and we'd have to do a show on it, and I'll bring some evidence for it. But go ahead. But anyway, that is an underlying. We could crush them militarily. We could destroy them to nothing. Again, Trump's actually been pretty hands off. He hasn't attacked any power plants, and other than the one bridge leading out of Tehran, he hasn't taken that down. There hasn't been any mass, he's been mostly military sites and their military assets.
All right, let me see. I don't think there's another part about 20 some minutes into this, but I think the next 2 minutes I still wanted to
Your guest said that capitalism should not be anywhere near Christianity. Yeah. Christianity is socialism at its core.
That's retarded.
You almost agreed with them. You're like, yes. And you almost agreed with them. So socialism, Christianity at its core, you almost sound like you're supporting maybe a Mamdani in New York.
True.
Or maybe an Ilhan Omar. Maybe those two will be in your podcast in the next few months.
They very well might. I mean, this dude did an entire propaganda tour for Putin, talking about how China is actually superior. Like, I would not be surprised.
No,
And that, I think, was one of the things I wanted to comment on, is so many people on the left tried to lodge that complaint after that trip to Russia, but we're in such this hyper-partisan world that it's like, yeah, but as long as I can identify and use these talking points in this moment, people didn't really care so much. And then it's like, well, reevaluate later. Maybe that is kind of fucking strange, huh? But yeah, no, it's we don't do enough in the moment to question things that affirm our preconceived notions. That was the big one out of that. But then I did really like the way he would summed this up. I think it was around 22 or so.
More power to you. That's not my vision. My vision isn't that. And I have
I don't think he wants that either, though.
Sprinkle of libertarian.
I think he's an operative.
To me, because I want to be left alone and just kind of allow me to do that kind of stuff. So whenever I have the conversation and I listen to it, Dave, I agree with a lot of the stuff libertarians also believe in, but I think there's an end to it because we've already started a country the way that we are. And so you and I both get accused of something. I want you to process this, and I want you not.
I think libertarianism is gay.
Me too.
It's a nice pipe dream. If
you think this is
I agree with that statement. I agree with that statement. Yeah, no, just libertarianism is gay.
He explains it a bit here. You need authority.
You're retarded. No offense. You need authority.
I'm open to it.
That's how people often.
You get accused of, this guy, Tucker's taking money. Oh, Pat's a Zionist. He's taking money from Israel. Never been to Israel. AIPAC messaged me and told me, you want to come to Israel? I said, I have no interest in going to Israel for you to pay for me. I'm going to go one day with my pastor. We've never taken money from anybody. And I'm so confident with myself on what I've done because there's only one thing I fear in my life, and that's God. I don't fear anything more than I fear God. And trust me, I fear God a lot because this thing's like this. If you ever wanted to have fun, and let's just say, put it out there on the line, and again, I'll put the onus on you if you're open to this or not.
Here we go.
Let's go hire 3 accounting firms. You pick one, I pick one, and let's get a third party that we both agree on. Maybe like a KPMG, PwC, and BKD, hypothetically. Some of the biggest firms you probably recognize. You have money. You've done well for yourself. Let's have them do audited financials on me, my wife, and you and your wife, and report back to see if I've ever gotten paid from Israel, and report back to see if you've ever gotten paid from Qatar or Pakistan or any of these guys. All the businesses, all the LLCs, massive. All the accounts. You know how this kind of works. They can kind of figure that out. And let's be honest with the audience.
Yeah.
Let's be honest with the audience.
I would love that. Oh, my God,
If you're open to
Turn
it.
the tables.
I'm available. We'll have to spend $500,000, something like that, because it's going to take a few weeks for them to do it. I am fully open to that idea if you are. And by the way, I know this may make you feel uncomfortable. You don't have to accept this offer, but I'm telling you, I'm comfortable if you want to do it. You don't have to do it because it's a little bit private. So I'm sure you're going to come out and say, how dare he want to look at my wife's bank accounts and all this other stuff? Because
he won't do
some
it.
people may say, they can pay your wife and not through you. And I get that as well. And that's why I want to be a little bit transparent with you. I've tried many times to build a relationship with you. It's been challenging. But I do want you to know that as a Christian man myself, no matter how much you go to a place to not want to believe in somebody, I've been instructed by God to try to do my best to have some grace. And I believe in you. I believe in your abilities. But I believe in God and America more than I believe in any man in America, because I've seen many great empires fall. And for as long as I'm alive and I'm kicking, and if God wants to use me as a voice to elevate how amazing of a country we live in, how lucky we are to be here, I'm going to use my voice to elevate that message. I've been doing that since the time I went to dinner with a few different people in LA, and I was inspired, and I was finally taught about how amazing this great country is, that we escaped Iran after 11 years and went to Germany at a refugee camp. And then finally came here. I served the U.S. Army 101st Airborne Division, one of the most proudest days of my life when I went into the U.S. Army. So that offer is back to you. Now, you have my cell phone number. If you want to call me, have a conversation, I'd love to. I'd love to. Your talent. I respect your ability on what you've done.
All right, we'll see.
But if you send your, your followers, and you got a lot of people that will do whatever you do, because you're the head guy at the top, and all the other people that follow whatever you say. So I trust all of them are going to probably attack me. I hope they don't, because I'd like to see that if the day Charlie passed, it was a heavy burden on me, because I have young boys that love Charlie. I've never seen my son get emotional for 30 minutes the day Charlie died, and I was at an event that I couldn't even get to my son that night. I think there's a lot of movements that need our help. I'm willing to contribute in my own way. If you are willing to contribute, you know how to get a hold of me. You have my cell phone number.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, he fucking killed him because there's no way he could back out without looking like a pussy, and he's absolutely going to back out here. His whole thing is that Trump is controlled and Trump is bought and everyone's controlled and blackmailed by Epstein and Israel and the Jews and Netanyahu. But ultimately, there's no way he's actually going to be willing to do this, in my opinion, because he's bought. I mean, in fact, we know for a fact an Iranian billionaire gave him like $15 million or something after he was fired from Fox News. Like, that's open information right now. And there's also this huge scoop going on. Allegedly, the CIA is investigating him for leaking plans to Iran, which was used in Trump's strike against all of the Khamenei retards. Basically got them all together to think that there was no ceasefire and then that there was going to be no war. And then all of a sudden, poof, they got obliterated. I think that he is dirty. Now, I do agree with one of the things that Patrick Bet-David said here, which is that obviously we have to give people grace. However, I believe you absolutely need to hope and pray for the best while simultaneously fearing the worst. And I'm so happy people are finally scrutinizing this guy, including the Trump administration, who, let me remind you, fired his son, and Trump is blasting him in public all the time now. All right, this break has been made. All right, and I'm really happy because I think ultimately the truth is so important. And the closer we get to the truth every single day just makes everything a little bit better and sweeter. Thank God for opening our eyes, and may he continue to guide us in a better direction where we fucking obliterate retards. I don't know. A lot of people think that, oh, you believe in God? Well, then you must be a bad believer because you have issues with people and you should just forgive everyone forever. This is pussy logic, man. I could forgive someone's soul for trying to kill me, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to try to kill them first. Anyone that reads the Bible understands that God is not demanding an entire army of losers rolling over and letting ourselves get killed by our enemies. God demands justice and victory, and I am here to help.
Pause, because I want you to go. There's a clip we're going to have to lift from here. Go back to the very beginning where he's doing the Trump tweet, and right at the end of it, right about here.
I think that's Tucker. Get this part.
Yeah.
It's how it feels not being a slave to another man in the Big 26.
For this,
I think so. It's where he says, "Bro's going to do a tier list of influencers."
Yes, yeah.
I got to clip that.
And highly overrated, so are Megyn Kelly, Candace, in quotes, really dumb and mentally ill, and bankrupt Alex Jones, who is completely fried. There are others also. Then we have some that are very good. True MAGA, all the way at smart. I would do a list of good, bad, and somewhere in the middle. Wouldn't that be fascinating? Bro's going to do like a influencer tier list. And then,
that's our thing.
Show the CNN post.
Wait, Mr. President. Wait.
Although I like this Tucker impression too, when he would go, ha ha, ha ha.
Dude, no, his Tucker laugh is on point. Yeah, no, absolutely. And he is now in my, I'm pretty sure I subbed to him. I disagree with this guy vehemently as a someone who's trying to read and learn more about the Bible and what Jesus taught, but he can have that opinion, and I'd like to disagree with him and all that good shit. So,
yeah, but Jesus was not a pacifist. There's a lot of evidence, that he, the whole robes for swords. I'm not a scripture person, but when the Roman centurion, he didn't tell him to go stop killing or anything. He just said, the two swords of Christ. There's the physical world and the spiritual world. Those mean things, Yeah,
well, maybe we'll have a this Christmas. We should do like a deep dive on Jesus Christ and his impact on the world.
Yeah,
but until then, we're gonna be doing hot topics, takes. All right,
bro.
You got anything you want to leave the people off with here?
I don't think I have anything going. Trying to think of. Oh, I do want to do this. This is day number 2 of me asking, why hasn't Trump clowned on Swalwell? Technically, I asked this of my brother about 24, 48 hours, but that wasn't on camera. So just now I have a daily countdown.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't our last that. That was on Friday's episode.
Okay, so then I'm being consistent. But I've been it is very strange to me. It is bothering me. I don't know why he hasn't taken a victory tour yet.
Do you think it's more shoes left to drop or something?
I don't know. I can't even speculate because nobody's talking about it. It's like he's been beamed up onto an alien ship and flown away. He dropped from all that stuff was like bang, 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 and gone.
Yeah,
on both sides.
Like to not talk shit. Yeah.
And from people talking to each other. Have you noticed anyone talking about Swalwell or any of that?
On Twitter, I still see a lot of talk about it, and like there was a nice long, like 1 or 2 tweets that were chained together of like in the last like decade, sexual assault claims against congressmen, or like potential misuse of power.
Yeah. I want to give Jillian props because she did mention, how about release the slush fund, the Congressman sexual harassment slush fund list.
Yes.
I don't care who's on it, RD, whatever. Release that shit. Notice they all voted by the same amount to keep that shit hidden that they went after the Epstein stuff. It was just the opposite. And no coverage. But no, I don't. Tomorrow we should have some Iranian stuff. Either Trump's got a deal, or by this time tomorrow, it's bridge and power plant day.
Yeah. So that would be interesting. We might be live streaming eradication of the current Iranian regime.
Yep, correct. So we shall see. Or again, everyone doesn't know. Nobody knows. There's theories he's got his man. He's got the man he wants to take over. There's theories that he doesn't even want a deal. Vance is going, according to the latest information. And what was said before was if Vance goes, that means there's a deal. It's pretty much locked. He wasn't going to go over there and negotiate anymore. It was to go over there and sign. We shall see.
All right. Yeah. All right, well then check in tomorrow, gang. Leave us a comment down below if there's someone that has a good take that we should be covering, or an awful take. Either way, give us a like, subscribe, all that good shit, and we will see y'all tomorrow.
Peace out.